Hi everybody, this is Dwayne coming to you from the edge of nowhere, and Lori and I are here this morning on a mid-August morning. So we got some clouds kind of coming in and out. We've got a little bit of sprinkles here this morning, so our monsoon is in full-fledged. So we're getting some cooler weather, a little more humid, but we'll take that cooler weather, and it kind of helps us with some of the shading this morning with the project we have planned for this morning. So behind us, what you can see is where we've got several of our pomegranate trees. Our fig trees are back behind us. We got our wonderful pomegranate in the middle here. The big one behind us is probably a good, I don't know, 12 feet tall or so. He's actually our oldest. He's about 2.5 years old. We got a few trees in here that we actually put in the fall and spring of this year. So these are only in the ground for about 8 months or so. You can see they're already doing really good. And one of them in the back there is actually already starting to produce some fruit. So pomegranates in the desert are amazing. They do really, really well. So that's not just a backdrop this morning. Actually, what we're working on is this wall. So this wall is on the northwest part of our property. So it gets really intense heat and sun. Now, these pomegranate trees are all going to be 12 to 15 feet tall when we're done, so it'll give it some shade. However, our plan for this is one of the few tropical fruits that we'll have to start out the homestead here in the farm. So our plan is passion fruit. So we want to get some passion fruit in. We know there's some people in town that do really, really well with passion fruit, so we figure we'll give this a shot. Now, what we're going to be doing this morning is putting in the trellising system. So instead of actually attaching the trellising to the wall, which we could, we're going to actually use these 7-foot T-posts. We're going to recess them off the wall about 6 to 7 inches. We're going to do that on purpose. The reason is to give it a little more space from the wall, so some of that radiant heat is not on the vines themselves, so it'll give it a little bit of space. And then also, as the reason why we're putting T-posts in is what you can't see behind Lori is our grapevines and our garden beds. Our grapevines have 6-foot spacing on the T-posts with a 3-foot wire, and at the 6-foot level we've got an EMT pipe that actually takes care of our trellising for our grapevines. So our idea is this: if the passion fruits don't work out, or if they take too much work and we've got a lot of other things going on, then we can always convert this to more grapevines because we love our grapes. They grow amazing. So it wouldn't hurt to have some additional grape production. So what we're doing is we're spacing them 6 feet apart. We're going to get this wire grid up on there for the trellising itself. And then once we're done, we'll come back so you can kind of see how this lays out. So we'll be back to you in just a minute. Okay, so we're back now. We're midway through the project. We've actually got our T-posts in, so we wanted to take a quick second and kind of show you what we did. So what we did is we actually have these all the same height, so they're all about 6 feet tall. It's a 7-foot T-post that gives us about a foot depth. So they're nice and sturdy. We've got them recessed. We actually wound up going about 8 inches or so from the wall, so a little further out than we were expecting, but we did go about 8 inches. So we had just enough T-posts. It's great because these are being reused from another area of the yard. So we got that done. So our next step, if you slide in a little bit closer, we're going to be using this galvanized fencing. So you can get this at your big box stores, easy to find. This galvanized fencing is about 4 feet long. So these T-posts being 6 feet tall, we'll actually raise it up off the ground by about 2 feet because we want the gridding all the way to the top, because these are trellising or vining plants that we're putting in. These passion fruit are. So the passion fruit are going to grow up and above it and kind of go all kind of crazy at the top, which is just what we want. And they'll grow down as well. So we'll just train them up that first 2 feet, and then they'll just spread across this fencing. So what we'll do to attach it, we've got this galvanized tie wire. So we use galvanized tie wire at several spots on each one of the T-posts to make sure that it's secured tightly to this, and we'll have no problems with our passion fruit vines. So give us just a few minutes. We're going to get this done, and we'll come back to you so you can see how it's done. Okay, so we're back and we're done. We've got our galvanized wire fence up against our T-posts. You can see how we finished that off here, and kind of the background, we got a different view of it for you here. But we got that done. So this is now ready for our passion fruit vines to kind of go crazy. We want it to go all over the wall, look beautiful on this wall. Really green up this gray wall, get rid of some of this gray. So if you want to take a sec, if you look down on the ground, you'll see, as usual, like we talked about in our other videos, lots of wood chips everywhere. These have been here for probably going on about a year or so. You can see when we do trimmings, I've gone through and done a little bit of trimming on some of these, some of the pomegranate trees and some of the other trees, because I'm constantly pruning, especially during the summertime, just to keep back the growth, keep everything up off of the ground. We don't want rattlesnakes and all that kind of great stuff sneaking up on us. So whenever I prune, though, I keep everything down on the ground, add to that wood chip pile that we've got on the ground. So you'll see we've got our irrigation boxes back here. So we've already got this irrigated. We had this planned anyway, so we're finally getting to this. What we probably won't do today is we won't get to the irrigation today. If you look at our last video on wood chips and desert soil, you'll see how we talk a little bit about what we do as far as an irrigation standpoint. The risers are already up in here ready for me to go, so all I need to do is attach the manifold and get the 1/4-inch drip line over to the areas that we're going to start irrigating now, because of course we want to prep this soil for next spring. And timing wise, what we'll probably do is do an update video sometime in March-ish, end of February, beginning of March. We always get kind of antsy and try to throw things in at the end of February once we get past our last frost date, which is mid to late February here in Arizona. But we'll be planting these trees again in March. So we'll come back, you'll see what this soil looks like underneath the wood chips after getting about 5 to 6 months of nothing but water and wood chips, so you get an idea of what the soil will look like. But either way, we've got our fencing ready here, and so we're ready to go. Oh, and the backdrop behind us, you've already seen this before. This is the other side of our grapevines. So this is our Thompson grapevines. So they're already all fruited out. Now that we've got them pruned back and they're already growing back in, making a beautiful backdrop to our garden, which is inside of that rectangle, which we'll show you another time. But ultimately, it's getting about 10 o'clock here, way past time for us to get up off the field. So we got some work to do, get back into town. We got a few things to pick up today from the big box store, of course, which is one of our favorite places. But until next time, this is Dwayne and Lori saying goodbye from the edge of nowhere.